Do you like throwing big, noisy topwater baits and having exhilarating blowups? This Lure Lab is for you. As always, the Lure Lab is presented by Omnia. We are part of the Serious Angler Network, and I'm your host, the Captain, Andrew Full. Sorry we missed last week, but we have an awesome episode for you today. But before we get there, make sure you head on over to Omnia, check out Premium Pro. I believe the code is Lure Lab. You get $50 off Premium Pro membership, which is normally $59. That $50 comes back into your Premium Pro account as a $50 gift card. So you can double up, use code SERIOUS10 on all of your normal purchases. Earn points, 10% back every single purchase when you're a Premium Pro member, and use that $50 whenever you want on all the awesome products. So make sure you check out Premium Pro on the Omnia website. But today we are talking about the best freshwater hard lure winner of ICAST, the Rapala Claptail 110. We have the product manager joining us from Rapala to discuss all the things that went into designing the claptail, where to fish it, best setup, and all the unique little features of it that are going to help you put a lot more bass in the boat. So hold on here. Make sure you strap one up on your rod, get out there, catch some big bass, use all the tips in this podcast to help you catch them. And let's get Kyle on. All right, and new to the show today, Kyle Wood, product manager for Rapala. It's Rapala, right? Or is it Rapala? You always hear the two different ones. So
you do. Rapala, Rapala, say it however you want as long as you buy them.
Yeah.
But if
Big
you
fan.
call customer service in the US, it's Rapala.
Rapala.
If you ask anyone at our home office in Helsinki in Finland, it's Rapala, but it sounds a little cooler because they got a cool Finnish accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rapala, Rapala, I don't care.
Fair enough.
Whatever you like. Yeah.
I mean, we might as well settle the debate right off the hop, right? Like which one? Tomato, Rapala,
Yep.
Rapala.
Rapala.
Got it.
You wouldn't say like I caught him on a shad wrap. It's a shad wrap.
Shad wrap, 100%.
Yeah. So I feel like that kind of just right there. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, wrap. Yeah, Rapala.
No, it's Rapala.
Yeah, if you're Rapala. Northeast and like weird segments of the South, Rapala.
Yeah, definitely for whatever reason, that's like how my parent, like my dad would say it, and his dad probably said the same way, and I'm just like
100%,
always kind of stuck that way. So no insult to you, it's just a weird New York State type of mind,
I love it. I'm here for it.
So, but today, cool bait we're talking about, the new Rapala. Did I say it right? Mm-hmm. Rapala. See, it's hard for me here. Claptail.
It was still kind of wrong, but yeah, it was good.
Sorry. You can just burn me however you want. It was a long day on the water. We're here now. So wind burned, Rapala burned. I did throw a mooch minnow, so I will say that. There you go. Boy. See? Yeah. So, but I'm curious. I want to hear about the origin story of the claptail. So, like, how did the initial idea come about, and kind of walk us down that basically stairway, right?
Yeah, this guy right here, the claptail.
The loud thing.
This was it was realistically it was probably 2 years in the making, and it really started kind of with we worked with Jacob Wheeler on this, and the whole concept originally was just like, it didn't look anything like this. The original concept was like, how do you make a topwater with like multiple different sounds that you can fish effectively, and that was kind of the blanket statement, right? Like, so what do you do? What do you look at? Like is it like a crawler style? Is it like a pencil bait? Obviously, another one of our recent topwaters is the PXR Jowler. That was another one we worked on Wheeler with, and that kind of had a couple unique attributes to it for like being really splashy, big mouth, very chaotic bait, that one knocker sound, big profile. This was kind of like almost like I don't know, you see a lot of stuff in the musky world where there's like a
Hmm.
lot of metal utilized that
Like
clanks on things.
Medusas. Like what's
Yeah.
the big one? Like a Medusa, the big twin tail thing. It's got
Yep.
blades. It's
Big
just,
grubs.
yeah,
Their top waters are, like a Whopper Plopper, right? Originated in the, huge size, musky stuff. And then there's all kinds of spin-offs of that. But the musky world, it's exaggerated. You get these like you could put a blade this big and have it actually contact something and make audible sound that you can hear. So I mean, we chased in those 2 years. Really, we actually it was supposed to be like a 1 year project, and we wound up kicking it another year because it was just like after 30 different shapes and lengths and different materials of stuff, like we just never had anything that really felt, you know,
right.
good. So then coming into the second year, Wheeler's like, I plopper style topwater is awesome. There's some downfalls to some of the ones that are on the market currently. And he's like, here's a few mods I've done. We talked to Ott and, Jake had a bunch of, input from other pro anglers that he had. And, back when I worked at FLW for years covering tournaments, I know there were a lot of guys that would make weird, fun modifications to a Whopper plopper, or,
Yeah.
eventually do a Chapo. So it was kind of like, well, okay, how do you get like another sound, right? That sound, that plop sound is so unique and it's so cool. And I think obviously it works, but just to like an angler, if you close your eyes and you cast some top water like that out and reel it in, you're just like, you could picture the blow up.
Yeah.
So the whole premise then was like, how do you get a secondary sound out of that plop, 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 plop? And that's kind of where, ground zero again and just started tearing into all shapes and sizes. And, the finished product we have here, again, I bet it was probably, oh man, I probably should have looked before we started this, but it had to have been at least 30 different versions that didn't look anything like this either.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it on that one.
It was a lot. And, like our design process, obviously Rapala, we're a Finnish company, and a lot of our lure designers are very talented guys, but they're in Finland. So part of my job is taking, some of whatever's inside of Jacob Wheeler's brain and then translating it to the guys in Finland so that they can, start kicking out stuff that resembles, these baits.
Google
And
Translate, please.
well, yeah, some of that, and then a little bit too of just like, well, okay, we know we want it to do this, this, and this, but for us on a mass production scale, like sure you can garage shop stuff like this up, but how do you do it at a big scale? So not only when you're designing the lure, you want to get everything right on how it runs, how it sounds, how it fishes, but also we need to be able to make them right. That was kind of the other thing that kept us going a lot longer of like, how do you streamline this for mass production?
Sure.
And
would you say that was like one of the most challenging aspects of designing it? It's like as you're getting through all the
100%.
prototypes, you're like, how are we going to mass produce this?
Yeah, and again, that's one thing that our designers in Finland work really close with the factory to kind of, hey, what if we did this? And then the factory's like, whoa, 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 that's way too hard, too complicated, or it's going to take too long. It's going to cost too much. It's going to be a $50 top water or whatever it is. Like it's 100% a thing to consider. So when we kind of got towards the end of this, and we realized that going with a French style blade, that's actually, some would think it's on upside down, but that's part of the method to the madness. It helps that blade float on top of the water and be able to
Because
get
it's
contacted.
cupped, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a
by
cup
that
blade.
stainless steel prop on the back. Yeah, so it was kind of like, well, French blades are actually, Blue Fox is another company under the Rapala umbrella. They utilize a lot of French blades. So we tried Colorado. Wheeler and I were playing with like Colorado blades, Indiana, Willow, and you kind of got the same effect. But again, it was like, I don't know, what do we get? What do we got more readily available.
Right.
And then that's where Finland's like, oh, what if we try this little French blade? Oh, okay,
And
good idea. So once we got that, then it really kind of started rolling, and then it just turned into like, positioning of this so that you get contact almost every time, and you get that sound. So, like I said, kind of at the beginning was when you close your eyes and you picture throwing something out there and reeling a plopper in, and to hear like this is like a plop tink kind of a sound. You get that two-tone effect, staggered sound. And now, like the first cast, when we got to this version, threw it out. Jake had it at his house. I had it here. Threw it out in the water. Close your eyes, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's gonna get bit."
clank,
It just
clap,
it's
clank, clap.
same vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. And I'm guilty. I have not thrown it yet because there's so many baits for me to tinker around and try with. Like, it's not that I forgot about it. It's just the fact that I haven't had a need for it yet. So next spring
right.
I'll have it when they start biting it again. I fishing smallmouth all the time. I don't have a lot of time to go chuck a plopper style bait around. There's like one key time of year that they'll bite it here on the Great Lakes for me, and then it's all largemouth fishing or
Yeah,
Bailey's
yep,
World, kayaking down rivers. Like, that's perfect for it. I don't get to do that very often. But
100%.
got another question for you here. Like,
Yeah,
what in your mind, like in totality, what sets it apart from all the other plopper style baits in its class? And why do you think anglers who throw the claptail will gravitate to using the claptail going forward over the other ones?
yeah. I think there's a handful of things. If you're gonna boil it down, the one thing, because there's more metal hardware on this, it weighs almost an ounce. Uh, it actually rides a little lower in the water.
Hmm.
The other thing, swiveling front hook hanger on it, so you reduce that leverage when that fish blows up on the front. Now you kind of take away that leverage aspect, but because it's riding lower in the water, I feel like your hookup ratio is better. Those hooks are lower down. We also use it's a VMC, a 7547 number 3, so it's a little longer shank too, to be able to get that bait away, which now means those hooks are lower in the water. So that fish comes up, and even if you short rolls on it, I still feel like your hookup percentage is a lot better. And the other thing I really like about it is that you'll notice, like if you cast it out, the thing will sit, I don't want to say vertical, but about like yay in the water.
Get like a 60-degree angle or 70-degree angle.
Yep, which means this prop can engage instantly, right? You have that amount of water for it to grab and start going. So it'll just kick up almost instantaneously. Where other ploppers, sometimes you got to get them moving at a certain speed before it really gets plopping, or you might have to give it a little rip or something. So the fact that this thing engages right away, especially if you're throwing at like a target, say you got like a laydown or a clump of grass or something you're throwing at, just to know that thing's running the second you crank the handle, basically, I think is another really cool feature. And
I think that's cool in effect too, because now you can fish it a little bit differently, right? Like a bait
oh
that
yeah,
comes to mind with me is like a Lucky Craft Sammy.
yep,
When you pause it, it sits straight up, and how many bites do you get when you throw it and it's doing like that sitting dog style? And it's the same deal. I'm like, oh, I could throw that by a lay down, turn it maybe 2 or 3 times and pause it and get that rotating, and all of a sudden it's just up.
yep. And
I
then you
wonder,
get that back blade kind of will sit there and kind of
flashing and dangling.
flash around a little. Same with this, the stainless steel prop as it kind of settles in. Um, so yeah, I do feel like it'll open some windows for how people fish it. And then, like I said, I think just the fishability, the way it rides in the water, the sound, you can go behind it. And some of our testing too, like buddying the boat, throwing some version of a plopper that exists, in this, there's certainly instances that you got more bites because of that sound. And I feel like, yeah, probably more prevalent, well, now in the fall, southern reservoirs, guys are throwing plopper, especially like highland reservoirs, where every fish has seen anything that makes a plop sound for years. And now all of a sudden you roll out with a different sound. Now you can go behind a bank behind guys and catch fish, or trigger fish, call them from further away. I think there's a whole lot of cool stuff. Obviously, I have a lot of excitement for it, but that's because I've been like chomping the bit for 2 years for this thing to finally get into people's hands.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out, I was like, "Ooh, that is unique and finally something different." It's like everyone's the same, the same, the same, and it's like you put a unique twist on a classic, right? And
Yeah,
almost
yeah, 100%.
in probably at times, like, all baits, one works better than others, but in situations where a bait's gonna take off is something that's extra loud, makes more noise, does something a little bit different than the competition. And that's cool. Like, I actually have been thoroughly enjoying all of the new product lines that you guys have been dropping,
Oh,
specifically on the
thank you.
Crush City line. Like, they're always in my rotation, so it's good stuff. And now to see like all the top water baits coming, I'm like, oh man, like when you think of the products that you guys have dropped in the past, like I always think like the OG balsa style baits, the shad
Sure.
wraps, the DT6, the 8, the 10. You guys have a new size too, right? In the
The
DTs,
12.
the
Yeah,
12,
DT
which is
12.
fits in that weird range between the 10 and the 16. So it's like, yeah, like the innovation's cool. It's been fun to watch over the last like year and a half to 2 years and all the new products coming out. But couple more questions here before we wrap up. And I'll let you kind of touch on anything else that we missed. But
Sure.
I think there's a cool feature in this bait that a lot of people may overlook. And you touched on it, the rotating hook swivel, right, in the front. Like,
Yep.
why is that such a big deal? And why would people overlook that?
Yeah, I think it goes overlooked in a lot of baits, especially moving baits, right? Where a lot of times you're getting a fish to bite it, maybe not out of hunger, but you're just getting a reaction strike. And if they roll on it, a lot of times you do hook one right in the front. Especially, like this color here is broken bone, right? You got that red throat patch. You might see him keying in on more of the head of the bait. Well, now if he's hooked on it and you got a 5 pounder out there wallowing around, this is also, like I said, it's almost an ounce of lure
Yeah.
flailing around at the end of a bomb cast, right? The last thing you want to see is a great big one coming up and wallowing around after you crank the reel handle 10 times. Yeah. Thing comes flying back. You're like, oh, well, could have been. So yeah, taking away that leverage, I think is a big thing that's overlooked a lot of times. It's obviously hard to do with a lot of lures, whether it's room in the, in a crankbait or something like that. You may not physically have room for that swivel to go. But that was almost like numero uno on the list of things we wanted. Obviously, we knew we needed a two-tone sound, but having a swiveling hook hanger, like I said, just another thing that in years of fishing it, there's guys that do, braid split rings and stuff, but average guy that wants to just go throw a topwater, you're not going to spend the time cutting strips of braid and tying them
What a
onto your
pain in
hook.
the
And
butt it is, too.
yeah, I don't enjoy it. Right?
No,
Like no one really enjoys it.
no. I'm like, if I need to go that far, like being a guide and being on the water every day, I'm like, if I need to go that far with my baits, it's a little too far at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, 100%,
but I get it.
100%.
Like, if you're fishing for $100,000, like, absolutely. Like, if it's
Have
going to
at
get
it.
you that extra bite, by all means. Like, my
Yep.
fingers just don't work that way anymore. Like, I'm sorry,
Right,
but
right.
but
But that's kind of it's also kind of like pro inspired, but for everyone, right?
right.
Like I think this is a good example of trying to make a features that benefit every angler of whatever caliber you are. Whether you're Jacob Wheeler, Dustin Connell, Seth Fighter, whoever, you could throw this thing in a tournament right out of the box. Love it. And also, if you're just a casual angler that loves seeing stuff blow up on a topwater, you know,
You're
this
going to
is gonna,
land more fish.
yeah,
100%. So, what if we're going to kind of get into like some fishing aspects here? Like,
yeah,
where should one fish it? Like, what would you say some of the best structure or areas to fish the claptail?
yeah. I kind of feel like it differs. I actually right here. I live in Iowa. I'm from Minnesota, so like you and I were talking a little before we started recording, but like it's kind of hard sometimes, especially in the north, to really dial in a plopper. Like smallmouths, it depends on the lake. I feel like if you look at Mille Lacs, there's times they eat it. There's definitely a lot of times they don't. They got their eyes pointed down eating crayfish. not worried about something buzzing over the top of their head. I feel like current is always a positive. Doesn't matter if it's a little creek, the Mississippi River, anywhere you got current. I think this thing's always a player. And then again, any like Highland Reservoir or which again, you would likely have current in there, but any of them where you got steeper banks too, wood like stuff where you can kind of put the trolling motor down and just go down a bank, like a 45 bank or something like that. Not to say I won't throw it around, like a Lake Minnetonka or something where you got a lot of grass, but I do feel like grass is generally the thing that kind of keeps you away from throwing a plopper.
Right.
So if you have a lot of vegetation in the lake, there's probably a better mousetrap, unless it's like fall or spring of the year, where you have less vegetation. But really, I think current is my number one. And then if I'm on a lake, shad, like where they're kind of on bait and you need to go and they're used to swimming around, I think that's kind of where something like this plays in a little more than, like I said, insert northern grass fishery for like a largemouth.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's funny, like when it comes to like a plopper style bait, I do find like late spring, right before the grass starts to top out, is when it's best. And then once it's all topped out, the lanes to throw become very small, and it's like, yeah,
For
I should
sure.
probably throw a frog here, or
That's
or a buzz
exactly
bait.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. Or
So
like, anywhere. For example, around me, I have a lot of lakes that are, there's a lot of standing timber, not a lot of grass. But you'd throw a buzzbait. Like right now, too, we're getting in the fall. It's cooling down. I want to throw a buzzbait. That scenario, if I could throw a buzzbait through it, I probably also would have a claptail tied on. And, unless I'm trying to like skip a buzzbait under docks or under laydowns and stuff, air to the buzzbait. But otherwise, if I could throw a buzzbait, I'm probably throwing a claptail.
that just means you need to make a soft plastic claptail that you can
Ooh.
skip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now make the engineers figure out how to do that one.
Oh man, some heads would explode if I called him, and it'd be like,
Listen,
"Oh, not this guy again."
listen, guys, I need a rattling, hollow belly claptail that I can skip.
Hear me out, guys.
Why do you want that? Because I got this one dock, just
Yeah,
one.
there's like this one scenario for like 1 week a year that I definitely need to do this.
Love it. So, what would you, if anyone were to ask you what like the best setup would be, like rod, reel, line, what would you use to throw it?
Sure, I think the cool thing about this is I feel like most people, have a bait caster
Mm-hmm.
setup that's kind of ready to rip for it. A 7.2 to whatever 7.4, 5. Some guys I know like a longer rod, they'll throw a 7.6 or something. Medium heavy, 30 to 50 pound braid, and like a 7-to-1 gear ratio. I personally, in 13, we have a 7.2 myth that's a medium heavy moderate. So like I love throwing a spinnerbait on it. I love throwing big topwaters, jowler, and this claptail, just because you have a lot of oomph and good backbone, but you got a little give. So when I'm like all jittery in the morning on caffeine and one blows up on it right away,
Like,
I don't swing and
been
yeah,
there.
yep. But no, like I said, I think almost everyone's got a 7-foot something inch bait caster that's a medium heavy. I think you got some braid on that bad boy. Tie this thing on, throw it out there. You're ready to rip.
Love it. Now, before I hit you with our last question here, is there anything that you feel like we should cover about the claptail that we may have missed?
No, I think we walked through most of it. It's like I said, there's a lot to take in on this thing.
It's noisy.
But, it really, like when you get one and you throw it out there, like I said, if you close your eyes and you just hear that plop tink going on, it's almost one of those like, oh my gosh, they're gonna bite it, right?
Yeah.
And I think some of that comes from the comfort of hearing a plop, but that secondary little tink, tink, tink that's off cycle of the plop sound. Oh.
I just have another question for you before I hit with the last one.
Yeah.
Speed retrieve, like you mentioned slightly that some you need to burn really fast, some are
Mhm.
slower, right? Like, what is the optimal retrieve speed for the claptail?
Honestly, I feel like another benefit of the weight of it, again, coming from like the weight on the prop on the back, um, it works really good slow. Like you can kind of crawl it through. Again, if you're
Tick, tick,
certain
tick, tick,
target of something,
tick.
yep, just barely getting it to kiss that back blade. And then again, because it rides lower in the water, and then I guess the one thing I didn't point out is we got this little belly fin on there.
Stabilizer.
Yeah. And you look at it and you're like, well, I don't, what's up with that? And it's actually cockeyed a little bit. Again, we have so much lure sitting in the water that that little fin actually helps keep him upright. So it tends not to list as bad on the side, especially at speeds. Like if you were to slightly above a normal pace, if you got your trolling motor on 7 and you're, 45 and down a bank and you're trying to keep it going, this thing, you can keep it tracking true and still operating it. So it is pretty universal, which I know you're probably like, oh, what a blah answer from a guy
Oh,
that
that's fine.
helped work on it. But it is it's the truth. Like from a slow speed to about as fast as you want to burn it. Obviously, I think most of these, if you get going too fast, when you stop hearing the tink, the thing's going too fast and it's not operating. But at that point, unless you're like trying to catch a wahoo or something, maybe in the saltwater, I don't really know many freshwater fish that are going to be about that life.
No,
So
not too many.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But the wrap it up, which one I think should be like highlighted here. That's why I saved it for last, and it's more of like a personal feelings question. But I
ooh,
want to know what the feeling was like around the room when the claptail won the best freshwater hard lure award at
oh
ICAST.
man, yeah, and it'd been so long since we'd done it, um, that it like pure excitement. And it was so cool to have our whole team there, our whole PD team, our sales, our marketing. We had the CEO of Rapala,
Yeah,
Cyril Villard was there. So just for all of us to be there and everyone to know how long it took, making this. And, from the first time we threw it out, I remember there was a meeting we had in our U.S. offices in uh, Minneapolis. And we have a little pond in the back. We went out, took everyone out on the dock, threw this thing out there. And same thing, I told everyone, close your eyes, listen to it. And the second everyone heard that, they were like, oh, yeah, that's the stuff. So then to see, that the industry also appreciates it as much as we do, yeah, it's like you can't describe it. It was awesome. It was
it's awesome.
super cool feeling.
Well, congrats to you and the team on that one.
Thank you.
In my opinion, it's probably a little bit long overdue just because I love all of your guys' baits. So just a little bias there, but congrats
Sure.
again. And I want to say thank you for taking the time to join us here on the Lure Lab, Kyle.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, Andrew. Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and we will chat soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds good, dude.
Perfect. Thanks. And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode here on the Lure Lab, presented by Omnia. We greatly appreciate it. If you made it this far and you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Drop a comment down below if you love throwing plopper style baits. And if you have or have not thrown the claptail yet, I want to hear about it down below. So please do that. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please leave a review if it allows you to do so. It allows the Lure Lab and the Serious Angler Network to be seen by more people who love bass fishing, are interested in bass fishing, and just want to generally learn about